Hello and welcome to the WB Mason Coach Report on GoHofstra.com. Joined as always by the head coach of the Hofstra baseball program, John Russo. Coach, welcome.
Hey, Len, thanks for having me.
Get right into it, Coach. This past weekend, a 3-game home-and-home series with Rhode Island. Lost the opener at Rhode Island, 12-11 in a wild game, and then came back home and swept a doubleheader. The exact opposite, two pitchers duels, really 3-1 in extra innings in the first game, and then 5-4 in game 2. We've gone over this in the post games, but let's just overall thoughts on the team's play against Rhode Island.
You know, I've never went into a series with so uncertainty of how we were going to play or what we were going to look like. I mean, you're talking having 2 weeks off and only having 3 practices to go in. It was less preparation than opening day, and come out in the first inning and score 4 runs on Friday. I was like, well, I think these guys might have shown up, and they carried it through that game, and then all every inning of the doubleheader on Saturday, and I couldn't have been impressed more with their 24 innings of play that they put together this weekend, and the toughness and the fight, and even the pitchers. I know we had a lot of high walks this weekend, which is very uncommon of what we've done, but just leaving 24 stranded, I think, on Saturday, I was overwhelmed and so impressed by our character and toughness this weekend. It's given me so much hope going into this week in practice, and feel like we continued on from what we had started at Sacred Heart. And one guy that I think, and the thing that we missed, and we talked about this I believe on Tuesday morning, was Morash, hitting 666 on the weekend. I think it was an incredible weekend for him. Rob had a really good weekend, back to back now since the last 2 he's played, and then Harrington, with the big hits. And the pitching staff, I thought we got a bunch of good performances, but to me, the one that stood out was having Monday back, at the end of the first game, and what he did with the extra innings and the guy on second was really cool.
You mentioned, how proud you are of the team's fight and their spirit. Is that the identity that you want Hofstra baseball to have going forward? Is that what you guys stress in your recruiting and in your practices and everything else, to be that fighting team?
Yeah, we talk about, culture is the big key word for everybody, every program. And, I think ours is accountability, hold each other accountable, always play hard, be supportive of each other, be locked into every pitch, be noticing the little things that are happening in the games. And, that's what I felt like started to happen during the Sacred Heart series, and really happened on that Sunday. And then we got shut down, but we jumped right back in on it on Friday. And, we need to be a really smart club. And I think, being from New York, you've got to kind of take the identity of toughness. And, I think we've got a lot of things going in the right direction right now that I'm really happy with. But do we have our hands full this weekend with Northeastern?
As you mentioned, start of CAA play this weekend. The Huskies of Northeastern come to Hempstead for a 4-game series. Friday, single game, doubleheader Saturday, and then a single game on Sunday. Always exciting for the start of conference play. Northeastern, obviously always one of the top teams in the league. What's your forecast for the weekend against Northeastern?
They're the club that's most similarly built to what we are. A bunch of Boston kids that are really tough, love the game of baseball, have energy every inning of every game. And, they're super talented right now. They were my preseason pick to be the best team in the CAA. Right now, they're leading the CAA in hitting, pitching, and fielding. So they do everything really well. They've got a great head coach in Mike Clavlin, and he'll never brag one word about their team, even though I'm like, hey, you got 4 guys that run it up to 95. And he's like, oh, they're all right, And so he's always downplaying everything. But, they can steal bases. They're leading the CAA in stolen bases. There's not much they don't do. And they're going to bring a lot for us to have to handle. And we've been preparing for it. We've been talking for it for a while. Their pitching staff's almost striking out 3 guys to 1 ratio. Every starter has a high volume of strikeouts. Hollowatzer in the 2-hole is one of my favorite players in the whole league. And Dupree is as good a hitter as there is in the 3-hole in the league, and feel like Costello's been playing against us for a bunch of years and always seems to do really well against Hofstra. They got a kid, Ian Fair, that was preseason player of the year last year, hitting in like the 7 or 8 hole. So man, they're a really deep, good team, and I want to say they're a pleasure to play. You know, they just do things the right way. They're just always going to get after it, and it's such a neat thing and a neat weekend for us because you know, two styles that really mirror each other battling all weekend. So it comes into little things and you know, really close games, and you know, breaks are going to go one way or the other.
Look at the teams on paper. They're very similar. The numbers are very similar. Batting average, ERA. You know, probably the only notable difference that jumps out at you is Northeastern's pitching strikes out batters at a higher rate than we do. So this really shapes up on paper. You know, as I say, you don't play the games on paper, but on paper this shapes up to be a really good series, and gets underway Friday at 3 p.m. here at University Field. Doubleheader starts on Saturday at 11 a.m. and then a single game on Sunday at 1 p.m. All the action can be found on gohofstra.com. Coach, thank you for joining us.
Hey, I appreciate it, Len. Thank you so much.
And you've been watching the WB Mason Coaches Report on gohofstra.com.